Farming Simulator 25 has just received one of the biggest updates, which includes support for Precision Farming 3.0, one of the most requested mods in the game. At the end of the day, this is more than just some pieces of equipment. It's more than new additions on tractors. But it does answer the question, why are there lines in my field? Precision farming gives you a farm score, and with this you can make extra money, you get subsidies from certain things, and you can even see the different soil types on your fields. There's so much to talk about, but I'm going to try and give you a basic overview of the entire precision farming mod so that you'll at least know where to get started. So let's jump right in. Precision farming can be added to any map, so that means if you've got a brand new save, boom, it works perfectly fine. Or you could toss it into an existing save, like mine here on Oakbridge. The AIs even put Tramlines in without doing anything on the existing save. Very cool. There's a full help menu in the game as well. Simply go down to the bottom, go to help, and then the top left, boom, pop over to precision farming. This shows you kind of all the stuff and is the same order that I'm going to go over things right now. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take some soil samples. This can be done one of two ways. Either use the Asaria Scout, get it out into the field, and open it up. Down at the very bottom, you're going to see a green circle. With that green circle, that's how much you are going to be measuring. So turn on help window, and we can see lower the soil sampling unit, got it, and then take a soil sample. Bam, just like so, takes it. We got a little bit of dirt, goes into a cup. And then after that's all said and done, we can send it off for testing. After you do that, it says you'll see the results soon. So let's fast forward a little bit of time, and about a minute later, you can see that we've got that. If we go into our menu here, jump over to our precision farming, and we can see this circle right here is now shows us what the soil is. But there's a much easier way. Simply just go here and purchase the soil map, $350. So about the same price as it would be, at least to use the machine. And there you go. Even for this field, where we didn't do the whole thing. There you go. Do this for all of your fields first. This is a required step for precision farming. And now that we've done that, we can also see that our score has gone up as well. So soil sampling, 13.5. Not bad. Which brings us to our next thing right here, the environmental score and understanding it. For everything that you do, you get a score, whether that be your nitrogen, your pH, weed control, soil sampling, and tillage. Everything leads up to a perfect 100. When you get that, you also get a 15% bonus when you sell your crops. How cool is that? As far as nitrogen goes, this is going to be your fertilizers. A maximum score is 30 when you use a manure sensor for organic fertilizer and a crop sensor for the mineral fertilizer application. Don't worry, there's an automatic mode. It's so easy. Your pH value, aka the lime, is going to give you 15 points. With weeds, you'll get a perfect score of 30 when you use spot spraying. That is included with the sprayers that we get with the pack. If you do it mechanically, you get 20, and if you just use normal, you get 15, or if you don't control your weeds at all, the lowest score is 10. Thought the lowest score would be 0. Soil sampling is a big part. It's like putting your name on the paper. Nothing else works without that. So 15 points for that. Just do it. That's it. And lastly, tillage. With tillage, this will also impact your score. So if you do things like plowing and things like that, it creates soil erosion and only gives you 5 points. But if you use minimal tillage and direct seeding, you get 10. Now we get into understanding the pH and the nitrogen. I would say we can understand the soil types, but let's be honest, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's just how much extra fertilizer and how much extra seed is going to go into each part. But as I mentioned, there's automatics for that. Actually, default's automatic, so just leave it there. It's virtually impossible to get perfect if you do it manually. So here's what our pH looks like. It is, well, kind of smack dab right in the 5 to 6.25 range. What you do is you put lime down here. As mentioned, there is an automatic application rate for this. So whenever you load up, just make sure that you're good there. Once you get into the field and turn it on, we can see down there at the very bottom, we've got something that's going up. And yes, this is a very interesting setup here, but nonetheless, we can see the colors changing at the bottom left-hand side. meaning that we've got the perfect amount of lime going on the field in these spots. Now you don't have to do this step right now. You can actually do this after you do your fertilizer, which would be a manure or slurry. Doing that's going to consist of something like this with the John Deere manure sensing unit on there. Mods are also supported with this. However, at least the one that I'm showing right here from Custom Modding doesn't have that as an option visibly, but it's still there. However, your base game stuff like the newly included Vinoff WPS TA25 will have it, and I'll have it, should pop up right over there on the left side. There it is. Not everything will have it though. If it's not a spreader, it won't have it. Like this guy right here, also from Custom Modding. This does not have a spreader on it, so it is not going to have the John Deere sensor. Now we're in the field, getting ready, and double check to make sure that you have that automatic application rate ready to go. We can deactivate it, but then we can just sit here and change the value. That's way too hard. Just use automatic, you're good to go. Drop it down and go forward, and we are going to see a whole lot of green down there at the bottom left. It is going to be changing that nitrogen value on there. Make sure that you get the perfect, well, say the perfect amount. It's not going to give you the perfect amount, but it will be an even spread amount from left to right across it. So we're going to go ahead and hit our fields with this. There's only so much slurry that you can put down. You can't go over it twice because it's just not going to work like that. But as we can tell, nitrogen levels have gone up. However, in some places they are still bad, and some places they're not too bad at all. But this isn't the only nitrogen that we're going to put down, so don't worry. So as you can see, with that nitrogen, it made it a little bit more lighter orange. In some places, it's pretty darn good. And, well, these other fields I didn't do yet because, well, there's a lot going on, so I'm probably just going to show one field. As we talked about the pH, we could see this bluish green line. Everything needs to be perfect for this, so I'm going to do the same thing with field 3 here and hit that with my perfect lime down with the pH. And here's what it looks like after the perfect amount of lime has been put down. Doesn't really look too much different though, does it? It just means that the field is just about as good as it possibly can be. Variable seed rates are pretty interesting with this DLC as well. Again, something else that's done automatically by default, but basically different seeds need a different amount depending on what type of soil they're in. So if you've got something like wheat, for example, if you're putting it in loamy sand, it's going to need more seeds than it would if you're putting it in loam, for example. As a matter of fact, basically they're standard across the board when it comes to different things going in. Obviously, this is not every crop, but these are just the examples that they gave. Now, before those seeds go in the ground, this is the moment that you need to talk to yourself and say, do I want tramlines or not? Do I want them? Maybe. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. If you do want them, click on your tramlines, and you're going to see this here. This is very, very important. It sets the distance between the tramlines that are automatically created during seeding. Do this to the width of your sprayer. So this is going to kind of line your wheels up with where your sprayer is. You can also do this later on, but they don't create with the seeder. So you've got a 15 meters. If your sprayer's 15 meters, you've got that. They also have 18, 20, 21, 24, 27, 28, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, 44, 45, and 51, 52, 54, and 60. Yeah! But let's say I don't want tramlines on this field. We just click on none. But maybe I do want tramlines on this field. Well, in that case, let's say we've got a 24 meter spreader. We click OK. And now there will be tramlines on that field as soon as we seed. This is the point that I need to make sure that my deactivate automatic seed rate is turned on, and it is deactivate automated. Make sure that it says deactivate because that's activated. I'm putting canola in the ground. And so we should be good to go. Everything should work perfectly fine. And this is just going to run through an automatic set of seeds. So if we pop up and take a look at that, we can see we're at 52 seeds per square meters. And it is set to automatic. Now, once that hits different types of soil, canola is one of the more forgiving ones. It's only low in a certain bit, but yeah, not bad, right? So, no tramlines on 3, and we're throwing tramlines on 4. Boom! Let's jump in here. Now, when you start off into the field, you're going to notice that nothing's really different here. Even if you just drive straight across the field, as we're looking down, there's nothing that's going to be different. However, The difference is in the growth stage at the first growth stage. As mentioned, you're not going to see tramlines at the beginning. Here we are in the next day in game, and as you can see, here are where our tramlines are if we were running 24 meters. However, no tramlines here. But this does give us an opportunity to check out the next thing, weeds. So this is where our weed control and spot spraying comes into play. So now we have to get ourselves a sprayer that is 24 meters that has spot spraying. Should be easy, right? Fortunately for us, the DLC comes with 2 of them. I say DLC, this is a mod at the end of the day. So you got the 732, which we've had previously, and we have the new 975. However, that one's 36 meters. So, little guy right here, this is 24 meters, so we'll be good with that. Let's go with a narrow tire, even though it really doesn't matter. And we need to make sure we have the see and spray. This is going to be perfect for us. So we're set on, we've got our herbicide, and just so we're clear, there is no indication that spot spraying is active. However, because we have selected it as a customization option, it is always active. So heads up through there. So now all we got to do is just go into the field, and we got to turn on our sprayer, and it is going to spray the things as it would, just like that. This was a little bit much during the first version of this. However, it does seem like everything's cooled off a bit. It's nice, calm, peaceful, looks good. So we're going through, we're getting our weeds, and we'll get more on our farm score. Oh yeah, there is one thing about tramlines. That's how they look at the end. So we could try and do this, but they are not like they are in real life. So tramlines are cool. However, I doubt you're going to see me playing with tramlines much. It's just not quite there. And for all you fast boys out there, yes, you can fast farm with all of this stuff too, and everything works great. Now that the spot spraying is done, we finally get a little bit of an upgrade. So as you can see, our numbers are climbing, which is fantastic. I absolutely love it. We can see with this field, the bottom 3 are up, but we still haven't done the top 2 yet. This is the environmental score down here is an average of everything. So we have the nitrogen and pH, which I did not do with that field. But if we jump over to this one over here, well, it's also showing the nitrogen and pH not being up. So let's see what we can do to change that. The nitrogen should be perfect. pH should be perfect. I did the pH. But in order to get the nitrogen one all the way up, we need to go with pulse width modulation on this sprayer. All the base game stuff has the pulse width modulation. However, the mods do not, at least not yet. So if you wanted to use the little Hardy Mega, for example, this one does have it. And if you use one of Giant's mods, those also have it. However, if you go in and take a look at something maybe like this mod from Customodding, I'm so sorry to Customodding. I'm not ripping on them. It's just they're the mods that I have installed. I keep them on my computer. This one has weed spot spraying. However, it does not have the one we're talking about. Pulse width modulation. That's it. Oh, and of course, I'm pretty sure my game just crashed. So none of that's going to matter. Oh boy. Hey, we're back, baby. I don't know what happened, but we're good. So we got our liquid fertilizer right here, and we are going to run over to this field, which has some fertilizer on it already. We put that slurry down. However, now we can run this, and it is going to give us an absolute perfect amount. Oh yes. I'm going to bring this down a little bit as well. I know that there are some people that have sensitivity to light and flashy things, so I will do my best to let you guys know when this is happening. I've seen a couple complaints already from people saying that this should definitely have a seizure warning, and I do agree. So just a heads up, I'm going to be using it at least with this one for the next few moments. And I will say, even going the speed limit, it still is quite jarring to see. And if you're fast farming, man, forget about it. It is wild. Now when we go in and take a look at the nitrogen levels, oh yes, very good. Not quite sure what happened over here in the corner and over here on the side. I still think that precision farming is going to need to be fleshed out a little bit. But I think it's okay for now. Those little bits is a lot better than splotchiness everywhere. Now, we still don't have a yield set up yet, so don't be expecting that until after you harvest. Oh, and one thing I just realized, I have forgot to put the crop sensor on my little John Deere, so we missed out a little bit here. There are a couple different crop sensors that you can use, including the one that comes with the DLC, or the mod rather. This also has some weights at the front now too, which I think is very, very cool. Basically what this does is it just kind of sends a light beam down and monitors your fields. Likewise, the tractors in the game also have these too, however it needs to be daytime for you to be able to use them. Even though your economic analysis might say one thing, the Aceri Pro Compact detects the real nitrogen demand of your crops. So, when I went through and sprayed just a second ago, I did not have it on this tractor, but I can add it now. Boom, there we go. So let's use that on our middle field here and see if the difference is anything worth mentioning. So there's not much of a difference here, but I will tell you it's a little bit less jagged as these lines are. Maybe it's just where it is in the field, but it's a little bit less jagged. You can also see where I start in the field is a big issue. Still having some problems right there where we start off, but did I notice a difference with the passive sensor versus not using it at all? Not really, but you definitely are recommended to use it nonetheless. Here's something that I think a lot of people wanted to be really, really cool, but ended up turning out to be kind of a meh product. It is the Subsidies. They say planting a crop like a oilseed radish on your fields during winter can earn you subsidies of up to $200 per hectare. To qualify, ensure the field remains covered through February. And this sounds great, with one exception. There are quite a few crops that are planted in the fall and can't have cover crop on the field in February, like barley, for example, or canola. That's not going to work out very well. Cotton, you barely get away with it, so that's not too bad, at least. And then we go down here to wheat. Yeah, you're not able to use it for that either. And yes, the cover crop has to be on the field during the month of February in order for you to get money. It's not a lot, but it does well cover the cost of your seeds. So is it worth it for you? Well, really only you can decide. We do have a couple returners coming from previous games. We've got the RTK station. So right here, you got the smaller version, and then we have a little bit of a larger version here as well, which is also used as a shed, which is pretty darn cool. Now they say that the station provides vehicles with a better GPS signal. This helps your AI workers to drive more precise and do their work faster. However, workers may not be as big of a deal now because we've got GPS. We can easily just zoop, jump into the field and do their thing. I've also heard through the grapevine that these really don't do much of anything now, so it is worth mentioning that there's a chance that they may really serve no more purpose than to be included. So I definitely recommend staying tuned to the channel. Definitely Farmer Cop for an update on that topic. And after it's all said and done, all that's left to do is harvest. And we've got a new setup up at the top left-hand corner showing off different things. So we've got what our crop is and then a few other goodies too. And that brings us here to our yield map. Here we can see the yield at specific spots in the field, and it can be used to analyze the field after harvesting, and you'll be able to see our three little lines down there at the bottom left hand corner. So the current yield in tons per hectare and percentage. You've got the harvested area in hectares, so in this session with this combine, and the total harvested area with this combine. I got a brand new combine harvester, and I may not give you the key, but I will give you the key to success. Yeah, that's definitely it. So now we can see some numbers changing up at the top, how many tons per hectare we're getting, and the percentage we're getting. At one point, that was like 115. So this will be changing as we go between the different setups and the different soil types. There, it's going to change again. There's 86% on there. 87%, not too bad. 86. So as you can see, we are fluctuating quite a bit. So as we're getting down here to the end of the field now, we've got all of our numbers up at the top and all of the specs. So that is great news. Now we can pop in here and see that this field actually got a 98. We scored a 98, baby! We're almost all the way up with that. The score, as mentioned, does go up after harvest. I've got a couple fields here that are going to bring my score down, so you know what I'm going to do? Sell them. When it comes to the farm score, if you're not helping, you are hurting. So, I don't want to hurt. And just like that, look, my score jumped a couple points. Nice. Only one more thing to do, and that is to harvest this field. Let's see how we could do when it comes to all of this. Steering assist is on. There we go. I need my GPS. I can't live without it. Right at the end of our stint now, we're 97% full. Come on, man. Come on. Let me get both of these, even though I want more crop. Hey, there we go. Alrighty. So now we will have another update to our farm score. 98. Look at that. 98, baby. Looks like both of them I was lacking. What am I lacking on? Nitrogen input. So fertilizer is where I am not doing a good enough job. So I need to figure that out. I still blame the areas at the top of the fields. If you guys remember, these guys, well, that's a real wild nitrogen thing. But right here and then right up top, at the top of that, I still blame those areas. But maybe that's just me. So last thing to do is going to be to deliver all these goodies. I've got my dragon truck, my dragon trailer, and we're gonna take these canola and go sell it. Now, because we've got an environmental score of 98, we also get to get a 15% bonus. So no matter where we sell this, we will get a 15% bonus in that yield. How cool is that? They just give you 15% more money because you did a good job. That's awesome. So the money for this is going to come in twofold. So the first thing that's gonna happen is we get the money for the crop. So this sells, dumps it out, and then we get the money, $2,400 plus $354 for the environmental score reward. Then we'll do the same thing for the front one as well. And there you go, 11,000 plus $1,600. That's $1,600 of free money. Basically, the government's saying, very good, very good. You did a good job. You didn't mess up a lot. Good job. So, precision farming is super easy. It is automatic, so you don't have to really do much of anything. And they give you a bonus at the end of it for doing a great job. Not only that, but now you only have to fertilize once. I mean, you could put slurry down if you really wanted to, but you don't have to. You could just use regular fertilizer. And I use the spray. However, you can use solid fertilizer if you want. Super easy. Kind of looks the same, to be honest. Just make sure you're using a fertilizer. Oh, that's a crash. Make sure you're using some type of fertilizer field sensor thingy. Make sure you're using one of those. But yeah, that is precision farming in a nutshell. So now that you've done all of that, it is time to go and do it again. One thing to note about these tram lines, though, is we can see exactly where they are. You will have to dig these up whenever you're ready to put more stuff down. So you will have to cultivate. I've heard direct drill works for some people, not working for others. Let me know if it works for you. Otherwise, yeah, there you go. Gotta love precision farming, man. And there it is. I'm sure you still have a couple questions. So if you got them, please let me know down below. Otherwise, have an awesome day. We'll catch you in the next one.